Welcome everyone to the City of Evans City Council meeting for December 7th, 2021. I will call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Rudy?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
Here.
Councilmember Spear?
Here.
Councilmember Johnson?
Present.
Councilmember Neal?
Present.
Councilmember Castle? Councilmember Mortensen?
Great. Thank you. In my tenure on City Council and my years as mayor for the City of Evans, I've read lots of proclamations. I'm going to be upfront and say tonight these two proclamations mean more to me than probably any of the other ones I've ever got to read. I think tonight's a fantastic night. We're going to honor some fantastic people, Chief Brandt, and the people from the Wreaths across America that do a lot for our fallen soldiers. So I'm excited for these two proclamations. And we will start with the proclamation for the Wreaths across America. Whereas the Wreaths across America story began over 29 years ago when the Worcester Wreath Company from Harrington, Maine started the tradition of placing wreaths on the headstones of our nation's fallen heroes at Arlington National Cemetery during the holidays. And whereas the National Wreaths Across America mission is to remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the values of freedom. And whereas this mission is symbolized by laying Christmas wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes on the third Saturday of December of each year. Whereas the National Wreaths Across America program honored over 2 million veterans in over 2,557 locations in 2020 by placing wreaths in cemeteries in all 50 U.S. states and abroad. Whereas the City of Evans would like to express its gratitude to the numerous community organizations and volunteers that have helped honor all 192 veterans in the Evans Cemetery. And whereas the City of Evans would like to give a special thanks to the members of the Exchange Club of Greeley, Evans VFW Post Auxiliary members, and the Edmondson Warmouth VFW for donating their time and money to honor all of the veterans in the Evans Cemetery. And whereas the Wreaths Across America program in Evans is an outstanding honor to the city's fallen heroes, and the city is committed to partnering with these organizations in the future to continue honoring our veterans every Christmas. Whereas Evans residents owe a deep debt of gratitude to all of those who have served, are serving, and will serve in our nation's armed forces. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Brian Rudy, Mayor for the City of Evans, do hereby proclaim the third Saturday of December as Wreaths Across America in Evans. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be the official seal of the City of Evans this 7th day of December, 2021. And I know somebody is here from Wreaths Across America. If you'd like to join me up here, please. Thank you so much for being here, and what an outstanding and incredible thing you guys do. You have invited me, and I've always taken part in this every year with you, and I will continue to do that for as long as you'll have me. It is very special and near and dear to my heart. My family was all veterans and military people, and thank you for everything you've done.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for the support that we've gotten from the City of Evans. This is, it's just amazing. It really touches me that so many people have stepped up, and the City Council, we've got a bunch of you helping us out. Brian does do our MC, and we really appreciate that. And this year there's a new branch of the service, and it's the Space Force. And so I asked Mark Clark to put that wreath when we do our ceremony, because it's an active duty one. It's one that we are celebrating this necessity of having space and the support of that. And then the city manager, Jim Beckenberg, is going to be our vocalist. So it's pretty exciting to have everybody. And thank you all, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
At first I also need to thank this Julie, because she's really kept me in line and helped me and kept me up to date with the people that have been buried at the cemetery and also anything that's going on. So I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. If any of you guys are free the third Saturday in December, it's a really neat thing to come to out at the Evans Cemetery or any cemetery around that's participated. That is a really neat thing. So thank you very much. All right, the next one, Chief Brandt. 40 years. 40 years in anything is incredible, but 40 years in doing what you've done to help citizens around communities all over Colorado is just an amazing thing, Chief Brandt. So, whereas we are here today to honor and celebrate the 40-year career of Police Chief Rick Brandt, and whereas Rick Brandt joined the Evans Police Department as the Chief of Police on May 7th, 2007. Whereas during his tenure, the Evans Police Department and Chief Brandt have received an unprecedented level of recognition, including that of the CACP accreditation, as serving as second VP, first VP, and president of the Colorado Association of Chiefs of Police. Whereas he established the Lexipol police management system, pioneered the statewide implementation of Narcan to Colorado law enforcement agencies, trained over 215 agencies, and remains the current point of contact for grant-funded purchases for law enforcement. And whereas additional achievements during his administration include the creation of the co-responder program and leading Weld County as the first agency to fully deploy body-worn cameras. Whereas he currently serves on the board of directors at North Range Behavioral Health, is the governor's appointee for the Substance Abuse Trends and Response Task Force, and serves as the Chief's Chair for the Colorado Municipal League. Whereas the Evans Police Department has earned and maintained the confidence and the support of the citizens of Evans, and on behalf of the entire City Council, I want to express sincere appreciation to Rick for his dedication to the City of Evans over the past 14 years, and congratulations on his 40th year in law enforcement. Now, therefore, I, Brian Rudy, Mayor for the City of Evans, do hereby proclaim December 7th, 2021 as Police Chief Rick Brandt Day in the City of Evans, and urge all citizens and city employees to join me in congratulating Rick for his outstanding career with the City of Evans. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause to be the fixed seal of the City of Evans, Colorado, this 7th day of December, 2021. Chief, we do have a better one of these for you. I'm going to get it to you, but this one we're going to have. Thank you.
Mayor and Council, unexpected honor. Humbled. Thank you so much. It's been honestly my honor and privilege to serve the City of Evans and our residents here. This has been a great department. We have, I will put the officers of this department up against any police department in the state in terms of professionalism and compassion and respect and excellence. I think we have one of the finest group of officers I've ever had the pleasure to work with. So I don't take all the credit for that. I think there's a culture in this agency that perpetuates that kind of mindset with these officers. And again, it's been my pleasure. So, and I look forward to serving for a little while longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Chief, again, I agree with everything you just said. No matter what the Tinmouth guy just said in the other room, we do have the best police department. I agree with everything you said about your officers, but that all falls on you. So the ship gets captain, and that's you, Chief. So thank you. Anyone else have anything? Thanks, Chief. Next item on the agenda is going to be awards and recognitions, and for that, I'm going to turn it back over to our city manager, Jim.
I will briefly turn it over to our police chief. I'll just say that I know, given 40 years of experience, I think one of the things Rick enjoys most is swearing in and recognizing performance in our own department. So continuing that in that spirit, take it away.
Yeah. This is definitely one of the things I enjoy most about my position is recognizing the outstanding work that's performed by the officers of this department day in and day out. I think, a lot of folks, we see what happens in the news and we see the negative side of policing, but we don't really get to see the opportunity or have the opportunity to see what outstanding police work is happening every single day in every community, and Evans is no exception. So this is an opportunity for us to recognize our officers and their accomplishments kind of exceed our expectations, go beyond what we expect of each other on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to be recognizing several officers here this evening. Before we do that, I'm also going to bring up some officers and do what we call a badge pinning ceremony. So the badge pinning ceremony is a tradition that we've had in Evans for a number of years. It's a tradition in many police departments. When new officers are brought in, we swear them in formally, and we allow spouses or significant others or friends or whoever to actually pin the badge on them. We have, because of COVID and because of staffing levels we've experienced in the last couple of years, we've been unable to hold a badge pinning ceremony, a formal ceremony, for I think 6 of our most recent hires. So I'm going to take the opportunity tonight to allow those 6 to enjoy the limelight for a moment and enjoy this time with their families to have their badges pinned on. So if I could have this here. Officer Driscoll, Officer Cornet, Officer Thomason, Officer Cowper, Officer Blattner, and Officer Fisher come on up. And if you folks would just line up here in front of the Council Diaz, I'm going to ask our municipal judge, Mike Stewart, to officially swear you in, and then we're going to have whoever you've selected come up and pin on your badges. So, Judge, if I could turn the floor over to you.
I state your name. I state your name. Solemnly swear.
Solemnly swear.
That on my honor. I will never betray my badge.
I will never betray my badge.
My integrity.
My integrity.
My character.
My character.
For the public trust.
For the public trust.
I will always have the courage.
Always have the courage.
Hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
Hold myself and others accountable for our actions.
I will always uphold the Constitution of the United States.
I will always uphold the Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the State of Colorado.
Constitution of the State of Colorado.
Home Rule Charter.
Home Rule Charter.
And the ordinances of the City of Evans, Colorado.
The ordinances of the City of Evans.
Faithfully perform the duties of the agency I serve.
Faithfully perform the duties of the agency.
So we'll do these badge pinning one at a time. So when I call your name, just stand in the center there. Officer Driscoll, if you take center stage, and Christina, his sister, is going to come up and pin the badge. Christina. Well, this would be a challenge.
Oh my gosh.
He has asked that I pin his badge, since I'm his favorite chief.
Congratulations.
Officer Thomason and his wife Kelly will pin his badge. Officer Cowper. Right hand. Will pin your badge. Officer Blattner. And Jasmine. The wife will pin on your badge. Officer Fisher. Step forward, please. And Kristen, your wife, if she would step forward. We do have one special recognition. If Brian Cobb would step forward. Brian is retired Sergeant Brian Cobb of the Evans Police Department. He started his career on January 20th, 2003, and he retired on March 15th, 2021, just this year. So he served proudly and with dedication and honor for 18 years and 1 month in our service. Brian, and I'm not trying to embarrass you or anything, but Brian is a casualty of our job. Our job sometimes we are involved or we become involved in situations that are emotionally difficult to handle, and sometimes it costs us a toll. We pay a toll for that service we provide day in and day out. And Brian served in an outstanding capacity for his entire career. He continues to serve today as our property manager and also in an outstanding capacity. And we're glad that he was able to stick with the agency. But Brian, I wanted to recognize your time with us and your service. With the shadow box, come on up here. These are the various badges and tattoos and chevrons that Brian has won over his career, along with some medals of distinction for his service. And Brian, congratulations on it.
I'll just say something real brief. This is very rare for me, but I've spent almost my entire adult life serving my country and my community. It has been an honor to have served Evans. There has been many of joy that I've had from riding a go-kart with a toilet seat attached to it in our parade for Evans Fest, to some of the sorriest times during the fight for the city of Evans. So it has been a great honor to have served this community. And I truly do love the city of Evans. Thank you.
Right, we have a few recognitions here. Just officers that we're going to honor for their service and some outstanding work they've done in the last year. I'd like to call Officer Thomason back up, please. Cody has been nominated for and has been awarded the 2021 Officer of the Year for the Evans Police Department. I think it's a just recognition for Cody. Cody began his career with us as an animal control officer and decided he wanted to become a sworn member. And when did you do that exactly? Okay. So in his short time, he has achieved a rather remarkable distinction of being recognized as a Police Officer of the Year for our agency, but it is well deserved. Officer Thompson has exemplified himself as a dedicated, hardworking, committed officer that really embodies our very values of integrity and excellence and respect. And I've seen it in his work day in and day out. He is typically a top producer in the agency, which does not necessarily rise an officer to distinction, but he goes out there every day and he gives the citizens of Evans 150% day in and day out without fail. He often exceeds expectations of his sergeants. They're surprised at his enthusiasm, at his professionalism, how quickly he learned the job. The way he treats people is second to none. If you ever get a chance to watch him in action, it's a real privilege to watch how he interacts with people and how he treats them. He has served as a personal motivation for officers on this agency with much more time on than he has. So he's been a leader in this agency in the short amount of time he's been here. And if I can share a story of Cody from this morning, just to kind of give you a taste of what police work unexpectedly delivers, Cody contacted a couple folks for a very minor trespassing violation today. A couple folks walking through a parking lot. He was just going to go talk to them, tell them not to come back in the parking lot and let them go. Within a few minutes, that turned into literally a fight for his life. The male individual began fighting, he had taken down to the ground. The guy was reaching his waistband, he's reaching his pockets. Cody was concerned he was armed. It was a struggle for several minutes. When it got him under control, they did find a handgun tucked in the guy's waistband, fully loaded, and he also had enough fentanyl on him to probably cause a lot of damage in this community. Hundreds of fentanyl and 30 pills that have been a scourge of overdoses in the last decade. Because of the simple contact, his enthusiasm, his desire to enforce laws, he decided to contact these folks, and we got a very bad man off the streets, and we didn't get an officer hurt for it. So Cody, very well deserved distinction for Officer of the Year. Well done.
Good job, son.
Indeed, I second that. Next, Officer Miramontes.
Chief, could you try holding the microphone in your hand?
Move around, I'll see what I can do. Thanks. I'll do better. So Fernando has been recognized by the Greeley-Weld County Evans Drug Task Force. He was recognized for his service in the task force. We do assign officers to the task force for 3 to 5 year stints to work in undercover capacities to interdict drugs that are a scourge of our communities. And what we hear from the task force is he was immediately, he took to it like a fish to water, right? He took to undercover work, his interest in undercover work, his ability to speak multiple languages, his passion for the work. He was involved in very major cases in the county, federal level cases that resulted in some serious indictments and some serious jail time for individuals, drugs coming up through Mexico from the cartels, working interdiction, and doing the very dangerous job of doing these hand-to-hand deals with these people who are frequently armed and do not want to go to jail. He was involved in purchasing 2 kilograms, right? That's 4.5 pounds of methamphetamine and a pound of heroin early on in his career, within 6 months of joining the task force. That's just unheard of. He continued his undercover role for a number of years, again involved in any number of high-profile cases. As a task force agent, he was involved in a number of what we call wires and other high-level investigations. They were interdicting drugs between Kansas, Colorado, Nebraska, and again coming up through Mexico, and some was coming out as far as Florida and Kentucky. So he served with distinction during that time. He was recognized by the command of the task force as an exemplary officer, and I know they were very sorry to lose him when it was his time to rotate out. They did not want to lose him. They begged me to let him stay, but we needed him back here too. So he's as valuable to us as he was to them, and we're glad to have him back in the street. So again, Officer Miramontes, you distinguished yourself as a fine undercover operative. You probably saved countless lives in our community because of the drugs you were able to interdict and the bad people you were able to put to jail. And importantly, you made us proud. The agency, you served in a way that was distinctive to our agency. You served our badge proudly. And for that, we're grateful. And you're going to receive the Meritorious Service Award. Is that better?
Yes, it was.
Have a life-saving award. So, do we have either Officer Pacheco or Croissant here? Okay. So could I have Sergeant Brandt step forward? Thank you. I would like to point out that he's the only other guy in the room with the same number of stripes as I have.
I noticed that.
Pete's been doing this even longer than I have. So as Jim mentioned and the mayor mentioned during the proclamation earlier, that I'm involved in the Narcan program in the state, which is a opioid antagonist. It reverses fatal overdoses of people who are overdosing from opioids. And so all the officers are trained in and they carry Narcan in their cars. Well, on August 11th of last year, Sergeant Braden was sent to a call of an unresponsive female who took medication and was not breathing. And when he got there, there were some people performing CPR on this woman. She had apparently stopped breathing, didn't have a heart beat. So while the CPR was going on, Pete went over and administered some Narcan, and within about 2 doses of Narcan, within about 15 seconds, the woman began breathing on her own and was revived. So clearly, had it not been for Pete's quick actions, getting to the call quickly and administering this life-saving drug, the young lady would not have survived that ordeal. So Pete, for your service and deploying the Narcan, you're being recognized for a life-saving award. Congratulations. The nice thing about the Life-Saving Award is that it meets our primary mandate of the preservation of human life. So Pete is meeting our prime objective. That's what I have this evening for the recognition. If we would please, one more round of applause for the officers. This agency. So thank you all very much, and get to work.
Thank you again, everybody, for being here tonight. It was a special night to honor a bunch of special people. So thank you all for being here. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item that is not on the agenda this evening? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Oh, excuse me. Are there any changes to the agenda tonight, anyone?
No.
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, consent agenda. Item 1, approval of the November 16th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes. Consideration of ordinance number 749-21, adopting Evans wastewater pretreatment regulations, second reading. Consideration of resolution number 30-2021, designated the public place for the posting of notices of public meetings.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
A motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, new business. Consideration of water and sewer board member appointment. We'll hear from staff.
Good evening, members of the council. The Water and Sewer Board has had a vacancy now for several months, and for the process that we've used in the past, the city solicited applications for that position through late October. Originally, we had 2 residents submit applications. However, one of them did remove themselves from the process prior to the interviews. The 4 current Water and Sewer Board members conducted an interview with the remaining candidates.
Sorry, Jim, hold on a second. Judge Stewart, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's always nice to see you.
Seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night. Sorry to interrupt you there, Jim.
We did have an interview with Mr. DeWitt on November 18th. The Water and Sewer Board, in recommending Mr. DeWitt to the council, Water and Sewer Board commended Mr. DeWitt's qualifications and interest in serving in the board. His qualifications were forwarded to the council under separate cover just to protect any confidential information there. As a reminder, the Water and Sewer Board consists of 5 members appointed by the City Council, at least per your municipal code, at least 4 of whom shall reside within the city limits. Further, I'm reading from the code, 1 member may be appointed who resides outside the city limits. Mr. DeWitt does live outside of Evans. I believe he lives in Greeley, but as the board is currently constituted, this would meet the allowance for 1 member who lives outside of Evans. So that summarizes our process and qualifications. And tonight we're seeking either your direction or either your approval of the recommendation from the Water and Sewer Board or alternate direction. That's all we have, Mayor.
Any questions of city staff or any comments on this item?
None.
Councilmember Spear?
Yeah, I know that we have the capabilities within our appointments and qualifications for this board to allow for 1 person outside of the city of Evans to be on the board. However, I do think that I would rather have someone from a city council, or I'm sorry, from inside the city of Evans, unless the person was really substantially, I'm sure the guy's a really nice person, but I don't see substantial qualifications. I mean, as far as what he could bring in addition to the Water and Sewer Board, it doesn't seem like there's overqualifications for that. So my personal opinion is I would love to have that open and leave it open until there's a resident that is of the city of Evans that could fill that.
Thank you. Other comments or questions? Councilmember Johnson?
I also agree with that. I think we should provide the opportunity for a resident of Evans to fill that vacancy.
I just speak to that. We did provide the opportunity for him to. No one did, but go ahead.
Well, I do share the concerns of both Councilmember Spear and Johnson. I completely understand if we could get an Evans residence in there, I think I would definitely be in favor of having that. However, though the Water and Sewer Board did conduct the interview with Mr. DeWitt, and based on their interview and their questions and everything that they asked, they felt that he was qualified enough to serve on the position. I would assume that the Water and Sewer Board would not just say, yes, he's qualified because they need to fill a position. Even though I agree, but since our charter laws, I'm almost kind of not wanting to go against their decision because they're the ones that did the interview, conducted that, and got that information. But I see both sides of it.
Brian?
Go ahead.
Tammy doesn't have anything to ask.
I just had a quick question. I did read everything that was sent to us, but I can't remember. What was he on for the city of Greeley? Was he doing any boards or anything for them? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Have his
I don't have his application in front of me that was sent to you, but I do recall he was the, and continues to be the chairman for the citizen board for the Stampede. He's been on and off again as the president of the Northern Colorado Board of Realtors, and a number of other leadership type of positions. Again, I apologize, I don't have his application right here in front of me. But
And I'm sorry, I can't remember either. I just couldn't remember if he did anything specifically for the city of Greeley as well.
I don't believe so for the city as much as for philanthropic and cultural organizations. So.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, I would rather see a City of Evans resident, but if nobody applies, what do we do?
Well, my thing is, I'm sorry, Fred, if we have all the positions filled, then there isn't an open board seat for an Evans resident.
Right. I get it.
Councilmember Neal?
I'm not sure because I wasn't present when this was written into the charter, but I believe that the original intent of this was to provide an avenue for Arrowhead residents to serve on the board, because I know there was a gentleman that served for many years on the water and sewer board until his health prevented him from serving after a car wreck, I believe it was. But I don't know whether this was offered to their HOA to see if somebody wanted to serve. But I think that was the original intent of the charter, having that put in the charter that somebody else can serve outside the city limits.
This is not Arrowhead.
Yeah, I know it's not.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that I think that was the original intent, was to have someone from as a representative from Arrowhead, because we service Arrowhead.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure.
Other comments or questions? I am in favor of Mr. DeWitt. I am going to follow with Water and Sewer Board. I'm a non-voting member on that board, and I think it is in my opinion, the most solid board we have. Those guys have been up there a long time, and they do a really good job of what they do, and I don't think they would have nominated him if he wasn't up to their standards. So I'm gonna vote yes in honor of what the Water and Sewer Board wishes are. Long story short, everything that goes to Water and Sewer Board still comes to us anyway. So they're a recommending board to us. So if there's something we don't like, we don't have to accept it anyway. So I am in favor of Mr. DeWitt. Anyone else? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
I move to appoint John DeWitt to the Evans Water and Sewer Board.
I second. A motion and a second to appoint John DeWitt to the Evans Water and Sewer Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Rudy?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
Aye.
Councilmember Spear?
Nay.
Councilmember Johnson?
Nay.
Councilmember Neal?
Aye.
Councilmember Mortensen?
Aye.
4-2. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing, consideration of ordinance number 753-21, amending the 2021 budget, first reading. I will open the public hearing and hear from staff.
Mayor, the amending of the annual budget is something that we do usually two to three times throughout the year, and the purpose is really just to true up the approved budget with the prior directions that council has given on given individual projects and initiatives. So that is really our purpose. There is a list of the budget amendments, the specific line items that would be amended with this action in your packets. The council did hear a longer presentation at a work session on November 16th and direct staff to come forward with this revision. Since this is the first public meeting where this is being held, I will ask our finance director, Jackie Trout, to give a brief summary of the items that are contained in the amendments.
Thank you very much, Jim. Good evening, members of City Council. As Jim mentioned, this is the last budget revision of the 2021 year. It does represent many items that Council has given preliminary direction on throughout the year. It allows us to true up the budget as we roll into the subsequent year. All the items included in this budget revision do remain unchanged from when you reviewed them last at the November 16th meeting, and includes a few items like traffic engineering studies, carry forward road projects, grant-related revenues and costs, additional costs for our parking lot here, the EQR purchase out of the water fund, and storm drainage costs that are part of larger capital projects. There are revision items that affect about half of the funds of the city, and there are sufficient fund balances and cash balances in the enterprise funds to cover the items in the budget revision request tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this item?
I'll eating cake.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition of this item? Questions of staff from council?
I have none.
I have none.
Questions? I will close the public hearing. Comments?
I'm in favor of this. All of our questions were answered when we originally had a work session on this, so I'll be voting in favor of it.
I'm also in favor of it.
Have to keep it after.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what we saw already, so I'm also in favor. There are no other questions or comments. I'd entertain a motion.
I move to adopt ordinance number 753-21 on first reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 753-21 on first reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, consideration of resolution number 36-2021 in support of the Northern Colorado Conservation District Collaborative Water. Wrote that. To fund water conserving landscaping improvements at the Evans City Community Complex. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. The city has made good use of grants from the Northern Colorado Conservation District for water efficient landscaping projects over the past couple of years. One you might recognize is out at the corner of 11th Avenue and Highway 34 at the major cemetery corner, and then also the project we've just accomplished this past fall in front of the complex here. I would like to ask our water conservation coordinator, Justine Schoenbacher, who's done a great job managing these grants, just to give just a brief overview of this next opportunity.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Yes, so as Jim summarized, this is the third grant. Northern Water has been absolutely thrilled with our previous two projects, and they really enjoy working with us, which is wonderful to hear. Similar to last year, our plan has been designed or is being designed by the Denver Botanic Gardens, and this is being paid for by Northern Water because they find that we have a really great showcase location, and they enjoy putting new landscapes in such a public space. And so this will be phase 2 of our 3-phase landscaping plan for the community complex. And I should mention actually that Denver Botanic Gardens is actually planning to feature our parking lot landscape that we just had done on their website because they were so thrilled with how their design turned out. And so our design for 2022 is intended police station entrance and along the front of the building, kind of this front area here. And the design plans to showcase drought-tolerant turf, which uses less water than previous turfs. And we also plan to integrate a few small pre-designed water-wise gardens, which have publicly available designs, so citizens can actually come and see, or residents can see this garden and get really excited about it, and then they can actually plant that same one at their house, or a similar one. A lot of these companies design a lot of different plans for people to purchase. And so once again, we are planning to apply for the maximum grant amount of up to $20,000. and there is a match, and we do have that available in the 2022 operation budget. So the full scope will be determined based on how much we receive in the new year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question? Comments?
Great job. I'm excited. Third year, yay. I'm excited to see the feature also. And, you know, that we're like at the forefront of all of this. This is great. Thank you.
There are no other questions or comments? I'd entertain a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 36-2021 and authorize the city manager to sign the Northern Colorado Water Conservation District grant application form.
Motion and second to adopt resolution 36-2021 and authorize the city manager to sign the Northern Colorado Water Conservation District grant application form. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, consideration of rate adjustment amendment for the city attorney contract. We'll hear from staff.
Mayor, I'm going to turn this right over to our city attorney, Scott Krog, for his presentation. But I would just mention, for what it's worth, that staff feels that our city attorney does a great job, and certainly, you know, I believe that his request is very much worthwhile, given all the reasons that he cites for the amendment tonight. So, Scott.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Mayor, members of council. So it's been my pleasure to represent the city of Evans since 2013. I was appointed 1 month before the flood. In my prior representation, I represented the town of Granby when they were bulldozed. Then I represented Evans during the flood, so I'm a little nervous about that. But be that as it may, it's been my pleasure to do that since 2013. We've adjusted our rate one other time, and that was in 2018. We have not adjusted our rates, and we've kept that same rate through 2019, 20, and 21. During that time, the cost of providing legal services continued to rise. So we are asking for an increase from $195 an hour to $210 an hour, which is a 7.5% increase. If you break that down over the last 3 years, it's 2.5% per year. In terms of financial impact, we let staff know before they started on the budget process that we anticipated making that request. And so it has been worked into the budget that you have considered. And in addition to the including it in the budget, we've also been working the last year and a half with the new Assistant City Attorney, Drew Lyman, bringing him up to speed on lots of things that involve the day-to-day operations of the city. And Drew is taking over more and more of those legal responsibilities. So I think that I anticipate, absent any major litigation, that the bills the city will see from our office will actually go down over the course of the next year. But that's our request, and I'll be glad to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you. Before I open it up to questions for the rest of the council, I did talk to Councilwoman Castle. Obviously, she won't have a vote tonight, but she did want me to voice her strong yes on this item. She is very much in favor. Any other questions or comments of anyone?
I'm definitely in favor of this. Scott, you've been providing fantastic legal services to the city of Evans, and we appreciate everything that you do. You're definitely worth, the amount that you're asking for. I'm definitely in favor of it.
I also echo Mayor Pro Tem Clark, but I also want to say you've been, like you mentioned, with us through major events, and you helped, guide us through all those specific events, and as well as anything that has to do with that specific, the flood, and anything that resulted with that. And I think you've definitely done an amazing job. I appreciate all the efforts and everything you've done for the city. And so I am in favor of this. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you for your patience and all the answers to the questions that I have that you provide, because you may not realize it. I don't say much sometimes, but I do have questions, and just listening to you, I can usually get those answered. But I really, really, really appreciate you and your help, and I think this is more than fair. I mean, I would love to give you a lot more, but I understand, and cost of living changes. Nothing stays the same, and I'm all for it. So thank you, Scott.
Fred?
Well, Scott it came in at a difficult time when the city had some serious financial difficulties facing them potentially, and I think as far as I know, he's solved all of them. So in favor of the city. So I certainly am not opposed to this at all. And thank you very much for all you've done for the city of Evans. I really think you saved our bacon.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, and I think that this is very called for. And I think that last year during the pandemic, when you actually backed off of how much you were charging the city, that was very appreciative, and I don't think it went unnoticed from everybody here. And the only problem I have with this is it going to get you closer to your retirement? Because I really think that this city is going to be very, well, no offense to Drew or anybody, but you will be really missed when you retire. So that's my only hesitation.
Well, the only comfort that I can give you is that if my wife has anything to do with it, I won't be retiring for quite some time.
Okay, thank you.
It's unanimous. I'm obviously for this. The city of Evans over the last 12 years has had a lot of good things start coming and coming and coming, and you have been very integral to that. You are one of the great things that have happened to the city. So on behalf of the citizens, thank you for everything you do and continue to do. And I am with Tammy. I wish if it was my money, I'd give you a bunch more, but it's the citizens' money, so let's go with this for now. But I'm all in favor of it.
Right,
thank you, Scott. There are no other questions or comments. Entertain a motion.
I move to approve the amendment to city attorney's legal representation agreement as presented.
Second.
Motion second to approve the amendment to the city attorney's legal representation agreement as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Council.
Next item, consideration of resolution 31-2021 establishing the 2022 property tax levy. We will hear from that.
The Evans Home Rule Charter, does outline the rules and the conditions.
The Evans City Council has
I think he turned it off.
There we go. I'm going to move back over here.
So our clerk has been busy at work planning next April's election, and the first step in the process is for the council to authorize the election to be held on April 5th.
We're on the property tax levy.
Wow.
You went 1 2
I wanted to get to the election. The property tax levy, that one's just about as fast. So this is a housekeeping item that we do each year. The city has to establish the 2022 property tax mill levy and then forward that certify that to the Weld County Board of County Commissioners for property tax assessment purposes. Of course, our property tax mill levy, our tax rate has not changed, so that is what the resolution reflects, and so we would ask for your consideration of the resolution so that this can be finalized for next year.
Thank you, Jim. Questions or comments?
Just a quick comment. Well, I'm definitely in favor of this. I think somewhere along down the line, we need to talk about the mill levy rates in the city. But for now, I'm in favor of it.
Other questions or comments? Then I entertain a motion. I do.
I move to adopt resolution number 31-2021.
I second.
Motion second to adopt resolution number 30-2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, 3-2021, authorizing a mail ballot election for the city's regular municipal election on April 5th, 2022, and granting specific oversight to the city clerk. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. As I was saying, would approve a mail ballot election for the next city council election on April 5th, 2022, and grant specific oversight of the election officially for the city to the to the city clerk. I just also point out that the resolution maintains that the city will conduct the election according to the requirements of the Colorado Municipal Election Code. With that, council, we'd ask for your consideration of the resolution.
Questions or comments?
None.
Seeing none, entertain a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 33-2021.
Motion and second to adopt 2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, consideration of resolution number 34-2021, establishing the 2022 City Council meeting dates and times. Here.
Thanks, Mayor. For this one, I will turn it over very briefly to our city clerk, Julie Camp, who can outline this item for you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In preparing the 2022 meeting calendar for Council, there were 3 dates that specifically looked at for being rescheduled to a Monday evening meeting. The first one is April 5th, our local election day, if you so desire to reschedule that to the Monday before. We also have June 21st, which is the Colorado Municipal League Annual Conference. Starts on that specific Tuesday, so we're looking to move that meeting to the Monday before. And August 2nd, which is National Night Out, which again, looking to moving that meeting to the Monday before. Those are the only proposed changes to your meeting calendar.
Thank you. Any questions of the city clerk or Jim? Or comments?
Just a quick question. November 1st, 2022, isn't that a election night as well for state? And because we were talking about making sure that we had it on those major election nights.
Number 8.
Oh,
I looked, that was going to be my question too.
Yeah.
The second Tuesday.
There you go.
First Tuesday after the first Monday.
Just wanted to make sure.
Any other comments or questions? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 34-2021.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve resolution number 34-2021. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Report, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. We've had so much good news tonight. I really don't have a report.
City attorney?
I'll follow suit on that.
All right. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item? Got anything tonight?
No.
Cool. That's it. Next item is executive session.
I move to go into executive session to discuss possible acquisition of interest by the city of Evans in certain real property and discuss possible negotiations and instruct negotiation in connection with the acquisition and for the purpose of conducting the municipal judge's performance eval and the city manager's annual performance and perform in pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, section 4, subsections A, B, and F.
Second.
Motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Good to see you.